extent of the law. So I do not support that. I remember a few years ago in that same Paul's area when we had a situation with dumping. We cleared the area, that's at the bottom of the Paul's airport, and we erected a sign. It was also destroyed. So it means we have to do more in educating our people on the importance of protecting state property. So, as I said, that bridge was closed for way too long. It's finally reopened, and I'm happy that the residents can now return to some sort of normalcy.
All right.
And that is my opening statement as it relates to what is happening or not happening within the constituency of St. Andrew Northeast.
You stressed a wee bit in your opening about job loss. How serious is the issue of job loss within the constituency of St. Andrew Northeast?
Very serious, because when one person is fired, it does not affect only that one individual, but it affects families and eventually communities. And of course, that will trickle down to the whole constituency. So when we had over 100 people losing their jobs, it is a cause for serious concern. And I've said it before, and I will say it again. This current administration came in on a transformational agenda. What would have been transformational here is allowing supporters of both parties to work together to build up the constituency and, of course, the country. But no, that did not happen. What you saw happening is a replacement of workers. So some had to do it out for some to eat. If you look at it in terms of the pie, the national pie, in order for some to eat, some have to do it out. And it's time that we get away from that. I've heard people indicating it was done before. If it was done before, that was wrong. Grenada is for all citizens, not only green, not only yellow. And you came in on a transformational agenda, meaning that we are going to do it different. But unfortunately, that current administration started off on a negative path. And when you see you are taking away jobs from people, think about the children who are in their care. Think about the shops and supermarkets within the communities, the constituency that benefited. They are now at an economic loss. So it is not only the individuals who were fired that are affected, but the whole country.
All right. We of course, due for a break. We're going to take it. When we come back, I want us to focus a wee bit, of course, from you being part of the previous administration, no in opposition. You were part of youth and education, a whole lot of that. And when we come back, I want us to, of course, go into that and get an opposition perspective in terms of youth and education in the industry within the new administration. We come right back after the break. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here on GBN TV and Classic Radio. We're coming right back. Stay with us.
More chances to multiply your Playway winnings by adding Multi-X to your regular Playway bets to win up to 5 times more. Imagine winning as much as $1,200 instead of $240 with a $10 Playway bet by simply adding Multi-X. Place your Playway bets from $1 to $10 or in increments on your favorite Playway symbols or numbers. Then add the Multi-X option at the same value to win 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more. Or free plays. With Multi-X, you must bet the same amount wagered on your regular Playway bets for your winnings to be multiplied. Grenadians, value your dreams and win your way as much as 5 times more. With Multi-X added to Playway and watch your money grow. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
You came and found it clean. You frolicked in it. You thrived on it. And no matter what flag or latitude, our economies depend on it.
Yet look at you, out the window.
Mindlessly tossed, carelessly dumped, anywhere.
Take it just evaporates because you don't see it. Rivers,
Gutters,
Dump sites.
our blue waters unite us.
Each singular act multiplies the pollution that plagues us, that
Threatens the green and blue that sustains us.
but we can also discard,
If we put waste to work, not dumpable,
bankable,
reuse it,
repurpose it.
recycle it.
create jobs, build industries.
It takes just you
You,
And me.
to translate green actions into blue oceans.
If given a chance, your plastic would choose to be put to more beneficial use. Choose recycling.
Let me say welcome back, listeners and viewers. It's to the point for today, Tuesday, the 5th day of September, 2023. With me this morning representing the opposition, New National Party, we have Ms. Kate Lewis Peters with us this morning, and she's the parliamentary representative for St. Andrew North East. Ms. Peters, welcome back. Before the break, I did mention I want us to get into the conversation from an opposition perspective in terms of youth and education. Let us spend some time speaking about youth, though. There were various youth programs that was in existence, during the time of the New National Party reign. I want you to kind of read the comparison for me in terms of what exists now, and should I say what existed, I should have probably said, and what is happening currently, in your point of view, being, of course, which is right up your alley, being one of the younger members of parliament back in the former administration. So tell us about it in terms of the youth programs. We know that a lot of emphasis was put into the Youth Biz program and so forth in terms of young entrepreneurs. Tell us about what has existed and what is currently happening and what effect it is having, especially on young people in Grenada today.
Okay. So a New National Party administration heavily invested in the young people of this country. And therefore, we had several programs and projects catering to the needs of our young people, understanding that an investment in our youth will benefit our country. We had programs such as youth entrepreneurship that we branded as Youth Biz, youth empowerment, the empowerment program for young men, the much talked about New Imani program, Fly fostering level-headed youth program, and the list can go on. But I just want to focus on these. Let's look at the Youth Biz program, youth entrepreneurship. This program basically allowed young people the opportunity, that young people who were interested in doing business, establishing their own business or expanding already existing businesses, the opportunity to receive loans and grants up to $25,000. And at the same time, business support provided to them so that they can operate successful businesses. As a result, we had 2 business support centers that was already established, one in St. Mark and another in Simon St. Andrew. This was in partnership with the GIDC. The 3rd business support center was 95% completed and ready to be established. The only thing left to be done was the furnishing of that building at the Beaton Community Center. 14 months later, we have not heard anything about what is happening with that project at the Beaton Community Center that was catering to provide business support to young entrepreneurs in St. David. We also ensured that there were periodical training opportunities in marketing, in business plan preparation, financial documentation to ensure that the young people who are doing business can operate successfully. And between the years 2018 to 2022, over 100 young entrepreneurs benefited at a cost of over $2 million. Today, I am not sure if the youth entrepreneurship program continues. The only thing I remember, some young people benefited from the COVID economic stimulus support. That's the CES program that this current administration met ongoing, although it was mismanaged. They met it there, and some young people benefited from it. After that, we have not heard anything about youth entrepreneurship. Is it happening? Is it not happening? What's happening currently with the business support centers that was established? I have not heard anything. The Empower program, very important program, and I know I spoke about it the last time I was here, because you see, our young men have an important part to play in our country's development. And somehow, we believe that they were left unattended for way too long. So this program was designed specifically for them. Upon coming into office, this administration met batch 3 of the program. They graduated them, and we have not heard any plans to bring in another batch or to continue supporting the batch 3 that they graduated. The much talked about New Imani program. Of course, we have admitted that there were systematic challenges with the program, but that program provided many benefits to thousands of young people. Education enhancement through scholarships to NULO, TAMCC, SU, and other universities around the world. Job opportunities on the job training and so forth, and many other benefits. The only thing we heard 14 months ago that this New Imani program will now be under the National Training Agency. 14 months later, we are still waiting to see how that will be rolled out. But added to that, there seems to be a stall in youth programs and projects. And what this has really done is create a big gap between what was promised to our young people and the actual realities of what is happening now in terms of youth programs coming from the Ministry of Youth. I also gave high commendation, the creative ministry, the creative economy, and the symposium, the 3-day symposium that they held for young creatives. I believe that was very good. But what happened after? There was no sustainability leg for it to stand on. So to me, I see that as a one-hit wonder. So again, what is it this current administration have in store for our young people? The question is left to be answered, because we have not seen nor heard of any new program ideas or any upgrade, enhancement to the existing programs that were there.
Let me also ask you this, Ms. Peters. You, of course, in your constituency and around the island, I'm assuming you've been having conversations with young people pertaining to these programs that you say, though, that they seem to be non-existent for some reason or the other. What are some of the feedbacks you've been receiving or conversation when you do have with young people that they've been talking to you about?
Yes, GT. And based on my nature and the way I love to socialize, you will understand that I come in contact with a lot of young people throughout the length and breadth of this country. And what we are hearing from them, their feedback is a great sense of disappointment. Because you see, they were promised on the campaign trail that new job opportunities will be created, new programs will be created for them. What were existing by our administration were ineffective, inefficient, wastage of taxpayers' dollars. But 14 months later, the young people are yet to benefit from any new job opportunities nothing to enhance their career. So there is a general sense of disappointment by our young people at this time.
Some folks would say it's periodically, the government's first year in office. So we may still have the option of a wait and see approach in terms of what's going to happen maybe within the next couple of months or the next year or so. Do you foresee an improvement in terms of how the government will of course in terms of program implemented for young people? Because our country seems to be have a lot of young people that needs a lot of assistance in some way or the other, whether it's through education or some other means of empowerment. Do you think it's because of it's just the first year of government being in office? That's how we've seen the issue the way it is?
Some may say it's 1 year or 14 months later. Give them time. But remember, we are coming from a campaign that made large promises, huge promises to our young people. It means that they should have a plan as to how to deliver and implement those plans that they were speaking about. Now, what we are seeing here, it was clearly talk, all talk on the campaign trail without any plan or plans of how to implement the talk, quote unquote, that was out there during the big talk, that was out there on the campaign trail. I would say, and to be fair, that any new party coming into government will of course need some time to assess what they meant and to come up with their own ideas and programs and so. But 6 months should be enough time, or 1 year. But we're into the second year, and we have not heard any plans, any programs tailoring to the needs of our young people.
Folks will also say that the present administration is taking the time out to repair ills that were left from the previous administration. Do you agree with that?
They would say that, and I understand that. But while you are taking the time to repair, quote unquote, the ills, we have always admitted we were not a perfect government. We made mistakes. Things could have been better. And for any administration, you will undergo that. But you must admit that there were many programs and projects that catered to the needs and thousands of young people benefited. So you could take the whole 5 years to correct the ills, but the young people are awaiting the much talked about programs and promises that you made on the campaign trail. I would say it is time to remove the boots from the air and put them on the ground to get the work started.
Let's take a break. We come back. I want us to talk about bits on education in our next segment when we come back. Please stay with us, folks. It's To The Point. It's Opposition Tuesday here on To The Point this morning, folks. We're coming right back.
The biggest party in sport is back. CPL and WCPL return with more action than ever before.
Are you kidding me?
Watch the biggest names in cricket battle it out in the race for glory.
Celebrate some more.
Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Queenita's broadcast of Republic Bank CPL 2023 is made possible by Republic Bank. We're the one for you. The National Lotteries Authority, Grenlec, and Hard On Plus.
I want you to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath.
me say welcome back to our listeners and viewers. It's To The Point for today, Tuesday, the 5th of September. It's Opposition Tuesday here on To The Point this morning. And with me, we have for you the parliamentary representative for St. Andrew Northeast, Miss Kate Lewis Peters. And let's go over to her once again and say good morning. Ms. Peters, welcome back to the program. When we were wrapping up, I actually spoke about, wanted to talk a wee bit on education in this segment when we come back. School have just reopened. Yesterday we had the first day back to school. I'm assuming you will sort of have some message for us maybe you should have gathered to do it yesterday, but it would have been nice if you could have done it yesterday. But school have just reopened. We talk. There's a lot of talk about the tuition programs and so forth, and that is going on. What's your take, and if there's anything you want to kick it off in this segment with?
Yes, GT. I have been an educator for 17 years. So I understood and I understand the excitement, the anxiety with the reopening of school to begin another school year, another academic year. And I want to say at this time, best wishes to our teachers, principals, parents, and students. And I wish them all the success for this academic year. This current administration has promised free education for all. But what we have seen is a change in the tone of what has been promised. So it moved from free education for all to free tuition. And let me say that any initiative that will benefit our students must be commended. Many governments or successive governments of the past have created opportunities for students' enhancement of education, because government must understand one of the best places to invest its resources is in the education of our students. The country will eventually reap the benefits. So all governments continue to invest in education. So the free tuition program is nothing new to our students. Thousands of students have benefited in the past from maybe since in the 1950s or 70s up until this day. They continue to benefit. And of course, it's always a commendable initiative to continue investing in education. But let us dissect the free tuition program. And to my knowledge, I heard that there was a launch of such a program. And I believe that was highly unnecessary, wastage of taxpayers' money again, to mobilize all these students, taking them away from the first day of school to launch such a program that is not anything new to students in terms of providing educational assistance, in this case, tuition. So that was not necessary. But in my opinion, this administration focuses heavily on picture optics. So that was done for that purpose. However, we must be mindful that this is nothing new. And if it's not anything new, it is not transformational in the sense that it's something that has already existed. Of course, educating or enhancement of education will always benefit to a certain extent. But let us look at what existed before under the new National Party administration and what is proposed, what is happening today. Under our administration time in office, thousands of students benefited in part or in whole with tuition assistance. But tuition assistance alone does not help a child that cannot afford education. You see, it encompasses transportation assistance as well. meal assistance in some cases, material assistance for school books and materials for studies and so forth. We have not heard anything to assist these students. Some may say, well, they get a help already with the tuition. But we must understand that while some students and the parents can afford the other costs associated with education, there will always be a part of this population who will not be able to afford it. And that is why under our administration, we catered to the whole, or let's say the general aspects of what education or free education encompasses, including transportation and meal assistance. Because what will happen, a child who benefits from free tuition that cannot afford transportation and even meals to get to the college or to NULO, we will see some dropouts. We will see some absenteeism or lateness by these students, and that, of course, will affect their education. I'm not saying they don't have it. We have not heard about it. All we heard about is the free tuition. But GT, let me read something from the budget document that was presented to us in the supplementary budget. And I quote, "The appropriation of $2.5 million is designated for the free tuition program aimed at covering tuition fees for eligible, and I stress eligible students pursuing post-secondary or tertiary education. This allocation specifically targets two groups of students, those transitioning from Form 5 of public secondary schools to Year 1 of T.A. Marisha Community College or New Life Organization, and students currently in Year 2 at TAMCC, unquote. So while they say it's free tuition for all, this is what was stated in the budgetary document. So a child who dropped out sometime from school and is not coming from Form 5 because they might have dropped out in Form 3 or 4, and eventually they are now deciding to get some to enhance their education at TAMCC or NULO, they are not qualified based on what I'm reading here. Someone who is already in the workforce, maybe for minimal wage, and wants to go back to further their education, they are not catered here for. And they said, students currently in Year 2 at TAMCC only. What about the students who are in Year 2 at NULO? So I want to call on this administration to be more transparent with our public and stop misleading the people. Free tuition for students, any student benefiting, it is a good thing. It is not a new thing, but it's a good thing. And that is why successive governments invested heavily in educational assistance for students throughout the years.
Now, in the education assistance that you speak about and the tuition program, what in your opinion could have been done different?
Right. I would say in any population, there will be different categories of people at different stratas of society. So you will have those who could afford everything for the children based on their income, based on what they might have inherited, but based on their status in society, they could afford everything. So these students could have been allowed to continue paying their fees. And those who cannot afford anything or could only afford parts, they should have been supplemented or assisted. So the focus should have been there so that they can get the full free education aspect of it. Because you see, when you're managing and when you have to budget, you have to do it in the most effective and efficient way. Now, there would have been some savings here to cater for transportation and meal assistance for the students who can't afford these aspects of their educational journey. But what about tuition assistance for students at university, SGU, UE? Thousands benefited in the past. I'm not sure if this exists now, because some of these students have come to me asking where they can go to seek this assistance. I told them to visit the Ministry of Education. Some indicated that they did, and they were told they do not have such a program. So I'm saying we always have to assess what is already there. There will always be those who will be able to afford. So let's take, for example, the children of the general managers in banks, in private businesses, the prominent secretaries' children. And I'm not judging anybody, because we have had situations in the past where, let's say, for example, a teacher is studying and you would assume a teacher, your salary is decent enough, but based on commitments, they were unable to afford. In our time, these cases were explained and we were able to help. So it is a matter of conversation. It's a matter of consulting to find out the needs of different people, to know to what extent they can benefit from. So that is why we had a program where some benefited in part and some benefited with the whole aspect of the educational program.
So you're kind of stating in the statement that you're making that it should not be the free tuition program and so forth. It should not have been across the board as it's been implemented now, but it should be done in a way that who can afford should have allowed to pay and who can't. I have some program where these individuals are sorted out by some means through constituencies and so forth, and seek that they are the ones that are really in need and they should be offered the assistance in some way. And not only just the tuition for exempting the tuition, but you could have done also in terms of more. You say, there are folks going to be needing transportation allowances. There are folks who probably going to be needing meals and so forth, because there are individuals who may, for some reason, can't afford that. After maybe paying the transportation, then meal may have to be sacrificed for some way or the other. So you're stating maybe it should have done in that particular manner?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, because there are people who the income stream will allow them to be able to support their families, support their own children. But then there are those who, based on their income or based on no income at all, can't afford. So we have to realize it is all about managing the taxpayers' dollars. And you want to do it in the best way that you can get maximum benefits. Because we don't want to say free tuition for all. However, there is no transportation assistance for some, no meal assistance, and these group of students drop out along the way. We will not see the benefits or the returns on the investment that we're making.
No, for being, of course, you being the MP for your constituency, what is the state of the education program within your constituency? What are you understanding, especially from schools and so forth within your constituency, in terms of, I understand school has just reopened, but I'm sure that you've been keeping your feet on the ground, as they would say, and listening, on your ears of the ground also, and listening in terms of the conversation that I've been hearing. What's the state in terms of education within your constituency?
I was happy to see the large turnout of students who started the first day of school, and I'm hoping that they can continue to do that. What I've noticed also is the amount of organizations, institutions, individuals who contributed to the preparation of school for our students. And I commend these organizations and individuals highly. What this has signified that there is a growing demand by our constituents or maybe our citizens for assistance. And if there is a growing demand, it means that economically there is a problem. There is a problem because so much people needing assistance means that the parents, the guardians are in a position where they are unable to afford it. So I commend the individuals and the organizations that have came forward to assist. As you spoke about that, I want to mention about the Grenada Christian Academy. Now, this year, this academic school year, they should have been starting in a brand new school, or maybe getting ready to start in a brand new school, because our administration has already sorted the funding, under the Grenada Education Enhancement Program, the GEEP program that assisted in the building of new schools and repairing of existing schools and so forth. The Grenada Christian Academy has been part of this project. It took longer than other schools, let's say the Montrose that has already been completed and the PVC expansion that was already completed, because of the situation or circumstances that existed. Now the school, the lands allocated for the construction of this new school is close to the sea. So you had to do environmental impact assessment, you had to do natural disasters assessment. So all these were done, and that basically slowed down the implementation or the construction of the school. The funders, the Caribbean Development Bank, they came in several times, met with the stakeholders at the Ministry of Education, the parents, the teachers, the community of Pearls. But before the meeting office, we were at the stage where the tendering process was in place to be completed. So the contract, if awarded then, you would have seen the Grenada Christian Academy being almost nearing completion. To date, we have not heard if the tendering process was completed or if a contract has been awarded. So I just wanted to know that, because of the amount of work that went in to get the GCA towards the realization of the new school. It's a long-awaited, as I would say, it's a long-awaited new school by the whole community, but we did our part and it was ready to go for implementation.
All right. But speakers, we drew for a final break in the program this morning. When we come back, we invite call some viewers and listeners, 435-2041, 435-2041. If you do have a question or two that you may like to ask, of course, the MP, feel free to do so when we come back after the break. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point for today's Opposition Tuesday. We're coming right back.
Records at the traffic department shows that a total of 1,447 accidents were reported for the year 2012, which includes 3 road fatalities. 2,946 accidents were reported for the year 2022, which includes 8 road fatalities. This is a significant increase of 104%. This is alarming. When a family tragically loses a loved one, does it matter whether by means of a gun or a motor vehicle? To avoid accidents, drivers and pedestrians alike must exercise extreme caution when using the road.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point here on the Classic Radio and GBN TV. It's Opposition Tuesday here on To The Point. And I did mention before the break, we'll give the opportunity to our listeners and viewers to either send a message via the WhatsApp or you can call in 435-2041. And before we continue, I just want to respond to a message coming on WhatsApp here from a listener of you, I would say. And he's saying that, every Tuesday we hear on GBN that the NMP has how the NMP administration is not the NDC administration is not fulfilling its election promise, and it's also true. If I just is to just summarize what the caller is saying, not caller, but individual who's sending a message, but we do have the opposition who has the opportunity on Tuesdays, and on Wednesdays we do have the government side has the opportunity to come in, and of course, so he's saying he probably would like the government side to come and counteract what the opposition says, but we do have the opportunity where the government side do have the opportunity to come in on Wednesdays. If that's just a bit of clarifying your comment there. Let's go to the phone line and take our first caller. Caller, good morning and you're welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning, GT, and good morning to the minister. Madam Minister, I want to say to you, if you all had tried your best to teach mothers and fathers today the responsibility when they have children, this place would have been a better place with parents and children. When you make your children, you have a right to look out for them. And if the government giving you a help, you should be glad and thankful to pick up the slack. But the way how you doing now, like if we make children for the government to take care from birth until they leave school, come on. And you tell us shortly after the election, you say everything has to come to you. Miss Minister, you telling us this morning that this government start up on the wrong footing. You sit back there and allow them to start up on the wrong footing because they had to come to you before anything implement. Why just come and try to feel all Grenadians is fool?
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution, caller. Thank you so much. 435-204. Any comment of a response from the caller?
I would say to that caller, sometimes you have to listen to understand and not just listen to respond because you support a particular party. I am making it clear that there will always be among us, whether we like it or not, no matter how we try our best, those individuals, mothers, fathers, single parents, who will need government support. It does not mean that you are not trying your best. It does not mean that you are not creating opportunities for some, but there will always be those who will need government support.
All right. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good me have lost that caller there, 435-2041. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning and welcome. Good morning to you, caller.
Good morning, JP.
Good morning to you. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Is that it? I really admire your courage. I understand everything you're saying, But listen to me. My dear sister, you had 9.4 years. You had no opposition. You do what you want, where you want it, and what you do. You did nothing for the 9.4 years. All you do, you talk, and you do nothing. And now you come and tell me people they have 1 year and 2 months. And you want to order them to do why you couldn't do in 9 months, in 9 years and 4 months. Oh, so bad, Miss Lady. Look, Miss Kate, you had this sewage in locker room. You had 9 years and 4 months to fix it. You never fix it. 4 people die of cancer, and you have 10 of them right now with cancer at the locker room. And you come here talking about they should do it in 9 months. They did it in 4 months, Miss Kate. So, Miss Kate, when you're speaking, check on what you're saying. You have a good day, madam.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution. Any response to the caller, sweetest?
GT, I just want to say to the callers that I understand the need for them to defend the party that they support, but they must do so objectively. Our government, the new National Party administration, was in office for the past 9 or so years. And no problem, we admit that. And we have done a lot and created a lot of opportunities for our citizens. So to come on to say that nothing was done, it means that this is a blind follower to their party. It is good to admit when good things are done, but we also acknowledge where mistakes have been made. But do not come here and indicate that nothing was done. No one will listen to you.
All right. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, GT.
Good morning to you, sir.
And good morning to your distinguished guests. I wanted to just bring a little bit of recollection to the Honorable Senator. And to indicate, she spoke